In the deep forest, beauty is not decoration. It is not a luxury, and it is not a small detail added after survival. Here, beauty is survival. On the mossy floor of New Guinea, a small bird with a sharp eye begins his masterpiece. The Vogelkop bowerbird is not building a nest. He is building an argument, a stage, a gallery, a private museum in the middle of the jungle. He clears the ground with precision, removing leaves, twigs, and tiny specks from the forest floor. A clean canvas is the first requirement. Then he begins to build, placing brown sticks into a hut-like structure, each one chosen and positioned with care. To'us. It may look like instinct, but look closer. He steps back, inspects the shape, and adjusts the angle. Symmetry is not an accident. It is a choice. The bower is architecture designed to impress the most important critic in his world, a female. She will not be fooled by effort alone. She will inspect the structure, judge the balance, notice the color, and decide whether his mind, body, and taste are worthy of the next generation. Then color enters the frame. Blueberries are placed against green moss. A beetle wing catches the light. A flower becomes a focal point. The forest floor becomes a palette, and contrast becomes the language of desire. A single berry is moved 2 inches to the left, a perfectionist's touch. The male does not simply collect beauty. He curates it. But in the art world, jealousy is constant. From the shadows, a rival watches. When the owner leaves, the rival steals a blueberry. Theft is a shortcut to beauty. The architect returns, notices the missing piece, and adapts. A shiny beetle wing replaces the stolen fruit. The palette changes, but the vision survives. In another forest, the satin bowerbird has learned to use the human world. Blue plastic scraps, bottle caps, straffs, and pieces of trash become part of his design. Modern problems become modern aesthetics. A bottle cap at the entrance becomes treasure. A discarded object becomes courtship, even pollution. In the hands of a bird artist, can become part of a strange and beautiful design. Some bowerbirds go further. They paint. Berry juice is spread onto the walls, and a piece of bark becomes a brush. The bower becomes not only structure, but interior decoration. The use of a paintbrush does not belong only to humans. In the forest, a bird has already understood that color can be applied, controlled, and performed. Then the critic arrives. A female lands on a nearby branch, and the male begins to dance beside his bower. Now architecture becomes performance art. He holds a yellow flower in his beak, buzzes, clicks, and moves. The display is visual, auditory, spatial, and emotional. The female enters the bower, checks the weave, measures the effort, and reads the structure like a document. Then she leaves. No mating, no reward. The sting of a bad review. But the male does not collapse. He does what all artists do after rejection. He returns to the work, back to the drawing board. Across the world, another architect builds in the air. The weaver bird hangs a nest from a leaf, a suspended sphere woven from grass, tension, and physics. With his beak, he ties knots. With his feet, he holds the frame. With every strand, he balances safety and style. A colony of nests sways in the wind. A neighborhood built on competition. The female arrives and inspects the entrance tunnel. For here. Beauty alone is not enough. The nest must protect eggs, withstand weather, and resist predators. Safety meets style. She pulls a strand loose to test the strength. If the nest passes, she stays. If not, the male tears the entire structure down and begins again. This is the cost of beauty: repeated failure, repeated rebuilding, repeated hope. In the salt flats, flamingos gather by the thousands. Here, beauty is not built from twigs. It is built from numbers. Heads turn in unison. Long legs move in rhythm, and a pink wave moves across the water. The individual becomes part of a living pattern. The dance says we are healthy. We are ready. We belong to the same pulse. In open water, grebes perform the impossible sprint. Two birds rise side by side and run across the surface, their bodies perfectly parallel, their feet striking the water faster than thought. For a few seconds, love defeats gravity. They dive together, rise together, and hold weeds as gifts. Physical harmony becomes visible. In the forest theater, the lyrebird clears his stage. Leaves are pushed aside. The performance space is cleaned, and his tail opens like a silver curtain. Then the mimic begins. He imitates other birds, but also the sounds of the human world: a camera shutter, a car alarm, even a chainsaw. The irony is painful. The bird sings the sound of the forest disappearing. And still, the female watches. Complexity matters. Memory matters. A male that can hold more sounds, patterns, and accuracy proves that his brain is as impressive as his feathers. Then comes the peacock, the iridescence of geometry. 1,000 eyes shimmer in one fan. The feathers rattle. The whole body vibrates. And seduction becomes sound, color, and motion at once. The peahen looks bored, the toughest audience in the world. Still, the male turns, reveals another angle, and continues. Even excess has strategy. On a small branch, the mannequin breaks the laws of friction. He slides backward. A moonwalk in the forest. His feet move too fast for human eyes, and his wings snap like whips. Courtship becomes percussion, a blur of red and yellow, a sound of speed, a dance so precise it feels invented for a stage. But the stage is a branch, the theater is the jungle, and the critic is watching. High in the canopy, the king of Saxony, bird of paradise, wears extreme fashion. Long head wires curve and wave like something from a dream. He moves them in circles. A surrealist of the canopy, the Wilson's bird of paradise prepares his own stage, cleaning every speck of dust from the forest floor. When the female looks down from above, she sees him from the perfect angle. His turquoise head flashes like a living neon sign. The forest becomes spotlight. The body becomes message. But beauty does not live only in behavior. It is engineered at the molecular level. Under a microscope, a feather becomes architecture. Tiny barbs, ridges, air pockets, and layers that bend light. Iridescence is not always pigment. Sometimes, color is structure. A hummingbird hovers by a flower. Its throat appears black. Then it turns. And suddenly there is pink fire. Now you see the color. Now you don't. The secret is angle. The bird is not simply colored. It is controlling light. Every movement changes the signal. Every turn of the head becomes a flash, a disappearance, a reveal. Beauty must be maintained. Birds preen constantly, spreading oil across their feathers. Without maintenance, color dulls, flight weakens, water enters, and parasites gather. Even glamour has discipline. The mandarin duck glides across the water like a floating pallet. Orange sails rise from its back, with purple chest, red beak, white curves, and geometric confidence. The colors should not work, and yet they do. The macaw carries the primary colors of the sky: scarlet, yellow, and blue. A living banner moving through green air. Pairs groom each other's faces, because to care for another's feathers is to care for the bond. The kingfisher waits above the water, a flash of fire over silver. Then it dives, and the hunter wears designer robes. The toucan carries the burden of fashion in its enormous beak, heavy-looking, bright. Impossible. But even this exaggerated form has purpose. It reaches fruit, signals identity, and helps release heat. Style and function are rarely enemies in nature. They are often the same thing. Across the bird world, beauty speaks in many forms. The blue jay becomes a cobalt jewel against snow. The cardinal becomes red as warning and welcome. The wood duck becomes the dandy of the wetlands. The secretary bird walks like a high-fashion predator. The Victoria crown pigeon wears lace. The snowy egret carries the marsh like silk. The painted bunting looks like a rainbow given wings. The quetzal drags grace behind it in a green ribbon. The sunbird becomes living jewelry. The puffin waddles with a clown's face and a fisherman's purpose. Beauty is not one language. It is costume, physics, function, illusion, and communication. Then comes choreography. The blue-footed booby begins from the ground up. One bright blue foot rises, then the other. The bluer the feet, the stronger the signal. The female mirrors him, and together they point their beaks toward the sky in a ritual as awkward as it is sincere. In the wetlands, cranes leap and bow like dancers before the first note. They throw sticks into the air, and playfulness becomes a test. Soon, the whole flock begins to hop. Joy becomes contagious. The parrot transforms into a black disc, a living tutu, shaking his head so quickly it becomes a hypnotic blur. Even the eyes seem to change, like biological stage lighting. The albatross performs courtship like a marathon. Beaks clatter, necks rub, and movements repeat year after year. A bond that can last decades is built through ritual, not a single performance, but a lifetime of remembering the steps. The frigate bird inflates his red throat pouch like a balloon. The woodcock turns wind through feathers into music. The western grebe walks on water. The sage grouse booms across the plains. The great bustard turns itself inside out. Every species has found its stage. Some performances are dangerous. Bald eagles lock talons and fall, spiraling downward through open air, trusting that they will release at the last second. Some performances are invisible. The poto becomes a branch, a statue, a piece of bark with eyes, until suddenly the yellow eyes open. Some performances require loyalty. The long-tailed mannequin performs as a duo, where one male may win the mate while the other serves as an apprentice. Even courtship can require sacrifice. There are dancers of snow, sand, forest, marsh, and sky. The red-crowned crane dances like fire on snow. The ostrich waves giant wings in the desert. The hummingbird dives in a U shape, pulling impossible force through a tiny body. At the bottom of the dive, the tail feathers sing. The blue-capped cordon bleu tap dances too fast for human eyes. High-speed percussion. Every species has found its own stage water. Branch, ski, sand, marsh, and forest floor. The curtain call belongs to the bowerbird. The artist bows. The performance is complete. But what is the result of all this beauty eventually? Aesthetics meet utility. A puffin returns with fish. A gift from the sea. A penguin offers a pebble. Simple. Hard. Essential. If she accepts, the foundation of a home begins. The waxwing passes a berry back and forth. Shared sustenance and a test of patience. A hidden nest holds the result of art. An egg with blue speckles rests inside. Even the eggs are masterpieces. A chick breaks through the shell, and the cycle renews. The architect becomes provider. The dancer becomes parent. The costume becomes legacy. A hummingbird builds a nest from spider silk. The softest architecture, elastic enough to grow with the chicks inside. At sunrise, the stage resets. A cardinal glows in a flowering cherry tree. A blue jay cuts through cold pine. A goldfinch matches a sunflower. A bird of paradise sparks in the darkness. A bowerbird cleans berries after rain, maintaining the standard. A young male practices alone. He trips over his own feet. Art takes time to perfect. Above him, an older male watches. The young bird tries again. More steady this time. Persistence and desire. A female lands nearby. Interested. The first successful gaze. Inside the bird's chest. The heart beats fast. Beauty has a cost: energy, risk, time, and exposure. To be beautiful is to be seen, and to be seen is to be vulnerable. Yet birds choose the risk again and again. A feather falls into a still pond, and ripples spread outward. The world changes slightly because beauty entered it. Birds adapt to us to a nest woven with colorful yarn. A crow carrying tinsel. A city pigeon flashing iridescent green and purple beneath streetlight. Urban elegance. Even on wires at night. The show does not truly end. A bird closes its third eyelid, protecting the vision. Moonlight reflects in its eye, dreaming of the next design. The peacock opens his tail in slow motion. The bowerbird adds an orchid to his gallery. A female nods. Approval. The male releases a soft trill. Success. In the morning mist, the bower stands like a museum of the wild. Not built for humans, but humans are lucky enough to witness it. We are the spectators, looking through binoculars, holding cameras, trying to understand what the birds already know. The world is not only a battlefield, it is a gallery. Every feather is a brushstroke. Every dance is a poem. Every nest is architecture. Every color is a signal. Every performance is a risk taken in the name of continuation. The builders, the dancers, the costume designers, the artists. A red feather rests on green moss, a signature left behind. Architects of desire. The world is a gallery, and every bird is an artist. So keep looking. Somewhere in the forest, on the water, in the sky, or just outside your window. Another masterpiece is already beginning.